I'm in the employees table right now in a new database. You can see up on the title bar it's the table data database. I mean, you know how to open and close databases, right? If I come up here and click on the Office logo button, come down and left click on Close Database, it leaves the shell of the program Microsoft Access open, but it closes the database itself, so I'm back to square one. To open up a database, you can come over here to the most recent databases, click More, or click on the Office logo button, come down to Open, or I even have that open folder on my Quick Access toolbar, so I can just click on that. Opens up, and when I go to my desktop, it's in the Exercise folder. I double click on that, and it's my table database. Double click on that. So over to the left hand side, I'm going to double click and open up the employees table here, and by default it opens up in Datasheet view. If I right click on it, I can open it up in Design view, add or delete some fields. If I double click on it again, it changes it back to Datasheet view. Or I can come up here on the Home tab in the Views group and click and toggle on the Views button to go between Design and my latest view, which was Datasheet view. What we want to do here is show you how to manage your table data, like adding, deleting records, finding, replacing data, updating. So to get started, I want to add a new record. You can do it one of a couple of ways. You can either scroll down to the very bottom of all your records and then click in the new field, the blank field, and start typing in to add a record. Or, I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top. What's easier than that is coming down here on the record bar and just clicking on that little button right there. When you hover over it, you can see a little pop-up that says New Blank Record. Click on it, drops me right down to the bottom, so if I have thousands of records or hundreds of thousands, then I don't have to scroll through all that. It takes me right to the bottom here. And then I can go ahead and enter in a new record. Now the employee ID isn't an auto number field. In other words, it doesn't automatically generate the number 48 for me, so I'll go ahead and have to type in a number. If I type in something else like some text, and then I click out and try to tab out of it, it says the value entered is wrong. It doesn't match the number data type, so I have to enter in a number. That's fine. Well, the next consecutive record would be 48, right? Go ahead and hit the tab key and we'll continue typing in a new employee. But we just type in Chavez, hit the tab key, Jason, hit the tab key, type in their address. We're in that field here, 123 My Way Street. City, how about we have afternoon, Utah, and then the zip code, 84117, tab. Now when we have the whole number field here, all I have to do is just start typing and it automatically adds the symbols for me, the parentheses, the dashes, and then just keep hitting the tab key. You can see it keeps scrolling over to the right horizontally here, so I'm in the department number. Now I have to remember what the department was. Is it Department 100's Human Resources, Department 300, 400? First of all, you want to become familiar with your database so you know the department code. Second of all, when it comes to entering in records, we actually want to go beyond the table here because, again, I don't know what the department code means. So what we want to do is later on we'll show you how to create forms where you could actually have the definition next to the department number from the department table if we have a department table. But since I don't know it right now, we'll just go ahead and say 300, hit the tab key. The hire date, maybe it was really recently, click on the little date icon. You can actually just type it in if it's easier for you, or one of the shortcuts is when you're in there, hold down the control key and hit the semicolon. That enters in today's date. So we can go ahead and come in here and change that. We'll just say October 2nd, or click on the date again, and it takes me within the October navigation calendar, maybe October the 6th. Hit the tab key and continue on. Let's say this is another customer service rep. And then when we're finished, you'll notice that on this row here that I'm entering in a new record with all the different data fields, I've got that little pencil that's writing that says we're not done saving the record. But if I close out of the database now, it'll save it. It just means I'm currently in write mode, writing the record or adding the data to complete this record here. But to save it, you can always hit the up arrow to go to the next record, and you see how the pencil disappears. That means that the record's been saved. When it comes to deleting a record, you can come up here on the Home tab in the Records group, and then there's the Delete button that's faded. You can't delete the item, but you can click on its adjacent drop-down arrow and delete the record. And then it'll say, or do you want to do this? And I can say no, and it still pulls it up. Another way of deleting the record is actually clicking on the row header. When you click on the rows, you see how it turns into a black arrow that shoots all the way to the right? It's actually selecting the whole record. In fact, if I scroll over, it selects the whole row, even though I can't see the whole row, including the employee's ID. So if I want to delete it, another way of deleting the record is clicking on the row header here and just hitting the delete key on the keyboard. In fact, if you want to delete a couple of records, you can click and drag on the row header and delete a lot here, get a group of them, then hit the delete key on the keyboard. But since I only want to delete the first one that I entered, maybe Jason was hired that day but decided to quit, Just hit the delete key on the keyboard, it gives us the pop-up and say yes, we want to permanently delete this employee. You know, it's probably best, instead of deleting old products, inventory, and employees, removing them from the database is probably just to have another field that says inactivated or no longer with us or something to keep track of it. So if at any point in the future you need that information, I mean, that's the whole purpose of the database, is to also keep a history of your past as well. Okay, what if I want to find one of the sales reps, or if I have a customer service rep, I'm going to click and drag and scroll over in my table here. I got some sales reps, custodial reps. Let's say I want to find all my sales reps, and say maybe I want to change all the names of the sales reps to, executive reps or something fancy like that. In any case, to do that, I can click anywhere in this field, which is one way of finding and replacing all of your text or the data within that field. And then you can hit Control F on the keyboard, which is the shortcut to find, or you can close out of that, come up to the Home tab, over to the Find group and click on the Find button. I mean, that works as well. And then type in sales rep, and then go ahead and click Find Next. And what it did is it took at that point, you see that record that I was on? I was in the middle of the records and I hit Find Next. It went to the next record. It didn't start at the top. It started in the cell that I had selected. And I'll click Find Next, and then it goes back up to the first record. You can see I'm record 1 of 47 here. So what I can do is I can go ahead and click on the Replace tab, come in here and say that I want to replace you as executive rep, and then just hit the Replace button. It automatically replaced it with executive rep and went down to the next sales rep. I can hit Replace All, and it will replace all of them, all the sales reps, with the new name Executive Rep if I wanted to, but I don't. Now the other way of doing this, I'm going to click Cancel to search through your table. For example, if I'm in one of these fields over here in the title column, let's see if we have any Johns in our table. What I could do is hit Control F, but notice something. Where is it looking in? It's looking in the title column here, or the title field. If I want to click on the drop down arrow and just say search the whole employee table, I'll obviously get some accurate results than just looking in one field here that I have no Johns, obviously, because I'm looking for the first name. So if you don't want to scroll into a field, click in it, and then look in that specific field, then just be in any field and say I want to search the whole employee table here. And then you can go ahead and type in John and hit Find Next, and there he is down here, record 25 of 47. It took us right to John because we searched in the whole table, not just in a specific field. So when you click on the drop down arrow, it only lists the field that you're currently looking in. Okay, how about updating employees? I'm going to click Cancel. If I come over here to the home phone number of one of the employees, like let's say Marge, to update, just come in here, and if their phone number is changed, go ahead and type over it. You can see that it's in pencil mode, this record here, that little pencil. To save it, again, you just need to click off on another record. Or you can hold down the Shift key and hit Enter, and it automatically saves it without you clicking off onto another record. Okay, let me close out of the Employees table and double-click Open up the Orders table. A fun thing that you can do within your tables here is you can add up a column. Like, for example, I want to add up the total quantity of sales that we've made. Well, there's 2007, also through 2008, maybe the total sales we've made for both years. In any case, the point being is I can come up here in the Records group on the Home tab, of course, and click on the Totals button. And then down at the bottom you can see I've got a Totals row here. All I have to do is find out which column I want to go ahead and add up or sum up all the data within that column here. So I want the quantity. So I'm going to come in here, click in this field here that's just right underneath the quantity column, click on the drop down arrow and say I would like the sum, or the sum total, of all the quantity of products that we've sold thus far. Check it. Gives me the total right here, 718. It's pretty cool because I can scroll down and that total row is always going to be there. So it doesn't matter which record I'm on, it gives me the total sum for that column. Of course, it wouldn't make sense to do a total sum of the item numbers, or the customer IDs, and so forth, but you do get quite a few options when you click on the drop-down arrow. You can count up how many you have within that column. You can do average, the minimum, the maximum, the highest value, the lowest value, and so on. And then when you're finished and you don't want to use it anymore, just come back up here on the Home tab in the Records group and click on the Totals button to get rid of it, and it's gone. These are just some basic steps to managing your table. Now, they're not the most efficient way of doing it, and what they have to actually manage your table, to filter through information to get your totals and so forth, are queries. These queries will actually go into not just one table, but a bunch of tables that you actually have related, and that's why we created the relationships, so you can be able to pull up bits of data of information from not only just one table, but multiple tables that are related. You can filter out half of this stuff and actually save your queries so you can use them later on. And most of your organizing will be in those other objects that we're going to talk about. Going to be in queries, they're going to be in forms and reports. Thanks for watching.
Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.